As I mentioned, Louis will join at 5:30 as a Tuesday regular. Any reaction to our NBA chatter with Mitch, and some has come in. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line 64686. The usual SGA hate has arrived. I was waiting for you to chime in, but I think you decided to maybe let that one go.
I don't discount.
You don't discount his greatness.
Absolutely MVP candidate, if not the MVP again.
I haven't given the MVP a lot of thought. I would lean his way. I think part of what happens, and this has happened in the past, is that people get bored with giving it to the same person, and they go, "Oh yeah, Wemby's made the big jump."
Right,
and it's hard to argue with their ascension, right, in terms of the number of the victory total increase from year to year, certainly.
News on the mark.
Former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz claims he has been told by a whistleblower about secret U.S. government programs, quote, where captured aliens were breeding with humans with the aim of creating hybrids that could engage in intergalactic communication. How did I miss this story?
Excuse me?
How did I miss this story when it comes to the news?
That's not Onion, Babylon Bee.
Well, it might be.
Yeah.
But it's being at least presented by the former congressman as legit. Where are you on the captured aliens? Where are you on this? Because it came up a few weeks ago. Former President Obama made a comment that got misinterpreted. Hard to believe in 2026 online, because the implication, according to some, were he basically said he knows there are aliens. He's seen them, or he's gotten intel while he was president that we got them. We stashing them someplace, but at least we got the bones. We got something.
Yeah.
And then if you read more carefully, what he said, I think, was more the philosophical of they got to be out there somewhere, which is very different than saying, yeah, I got the files.
Right.
So do you have a stated position?
That's kind of mine. And you know what got me thinking about it was Artemis. When they're taking the pictures, they're on the other side of the moon.
Dark side of the moon.
You've got this whole galaxy, and you're like, it's just, how is Earth the one place? Like, how did that make sense? Am I stupid for thinking that?
No, that's been my position. Absolutely. It's hard.
What are we missing?
Philosophically, you're going, it's not logical. But that's very different than saying the government's got the bodies, or they got the things, or they're
in Utah
the tools
somewhere.
And they get, that part, I just think that's too spectacular a secret to keep. If indeed
for too many years with too many people,
it's just not going to work. I don't think. But what's the Jodie Foster film that I love so much that Giovanni and I watched? Contact.
Yeah,
I think that the father in that movie basically says something. There's a line in there somewhere about it's a whole lot of wasted space or something like that if there's not some out there, and it sounds kind of corny to say it, but It does seem illogical. I don't know who Gates was talking to. Maybe it was something he smoked. Is that possible, too? I'm not exactly sure.
It's all possible. Nothing is impossible anymore.
Nothing's impossible. This comes from The Week magazine in a section. So when you ask whether it's true, accurate, or perhaps embellished, the headline on it is, "It must be true. I read it in the tabloids." A Michigan woman testified in a scheduled court hearing via Zoom while driving a car. Am I crazy, or does it look like you're driving that car? An irate Judge Michael McNally asked Kimberly Carroll, from whom a debt collector sought about $1,800. By the way, that's the kind of, in this state, would we even blink an eye at $1,800?
They're not going to
You're
court
going to have to go a little higher than that.
Yeah.
Carroll claimed to be a passenger when McNally noted that she was on the left side of the vehicle and challenged her to show the driver She said she had to ask their permission, then pulled over and exited the car. You think I'm that stupid, said the judge, who issued a default judgment against her. Carol later apologized and said she panicked in the moment. That does take cojones, no pun intended.
Yep.
To, figure to think you have a chance to get away with, I'm going to be driving while I'm in court in a Zoom situation.
And when you're called on it, you just double down. It's the old George Costanza. It's not a lie if you believe it.
And then you leave the car.
And then you leave the car. You just
abandon
parachute out
the vehicle, which seems a little much to me. I don't know. This one is another one that raises philosophical questions. And again, it's from It Must Be True. I read it in the tabloid, so I don't know how true it is. But it got my attention. A Dutch city councilwoman was booted from her political party after she used AI to alter her official photo to look dramatically younger and, in the words of this piece, more attractive. Patricia Reichman, 59 years old, who was recently elected in Rotterdam, admitted to using an online tool to boost the pixel count in campaign materials, but insisted that really is me, saying she's often told, I look remarkably young. She said she currently doesn't look like the photo because of medication she is taking. Her party, Leaf Bar Rotterdam, said her campaign photo does not correspond with reality and asked her to resign. And when she refused, she was expelled. That's the Dutch City Council. Have we ever had an expulsion in the Minneapolis City Council? I know there's some members who would like to expel other members.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of love.
Cuts a lot of ways.
Not a lot of love on the city council right now, I don't think, and it does cut a lot of ways. You're 100% right. So here's what I don't get. Now, the side-by-side photos, it does not look like the same person. I'll grant that point. But isn't that the world we live in now, pretty much? Isn't everybody doing that to a certain extent?
Seems like more than used to be. Yeah, everything's touched up, airbrushed.
So I don't know what the rules are on that, is I guess what I'm saying. At this point, I'm not exactly sure. Because airbrushing on... What's the distinction between this and airbrushing photos or putting filters on photos that you put on Insta?
Right. To me, there's not a lot.
I'll show you the photo later and you tell me. I mean, it does look like a different person. There's no question about that. I mean, it doesn't look like the same person. So maybe there are limits to it, but I'm guessing we have some texters who can get in on that subject. 646-86, Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line as well. Here's the last one I'm looking for. Oh, I got to go to a different spot. And I meant to get to this yesterday. This is courtesy of our guy, Lou Ragoose. Did you happen to see a couple of things he tweeted out on yesterday's program?
I did not.
Now, let me find Ragoose. Where's Ragoose? Let's get to Lou Ragoose here on the X. Lou Newsman is what he uses for that.
That's right.
Is that a change? Did he just
it is.
add to that?
Yes.
I thought that's what it was.
It's a new one.
Let me scroll down. Here it is. Here's the Ragoose. Well, it was a video, and then they turned it into a story. Let's get to it. Ragoose published, well, actually, this is then someone else responding to it, all of the Minnesota Medicaid spending money from at-risk programs going back to 2018, and it totals $20 billion with a B. Now, that doesn't mean all the money that proves that all the money was fraudulent in nature, but it does open your eyes based on what we're learning about the amount of fraud we've had here. Minnesota, Ragoose wrote or said, paid $4.32 billion in Medicaid reimbursements last year to the 14 programs identified as high risk for fraud, and that is up from $2.06 billion just 4 years earlier. Exponential growth is evident in several of the programs. That's I think the sort of the red. That's the sort of the alarm where the alarm bells go off. Again, it doesn't prove that all that money is fraudulent. But in 4 years, you go from $2 billion to more to $4.3 billion.
Right.
In 2 years. Tell me that looks solid. Tell me that oh yeah, it's no problem. That makes some sense.
Checks out.
I mean, that's in the billions. I'm not talking about millions in an increase. You're already in the billions at the start of it, and you go from $2 billion to $4.32 billion in Medicaid reimbursements. That is, I don't know if we're going to end up having an investigation and more. We're going to have more of these stories surface, as if we haven't had enough fraud stories to this point. But that also got my attention. We are actually late, so let's try to get caught up. News on the March today. If you have questions, Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line is open at 64686. Dan, you teased an Ohtani conversation yesterday. Will this be a part of the program, or is it too much show on a Tuesday? Ed, I'm glad you brought it up because it's coming up next. Let's get into some baseball that doesn't have to do with the hottest team in all the major leagues, your Minnesota Twins. That is coming up right around the corner. Would Shohei Ohtani be bigger in the sports cultural crossover sense if he played basketball or football? Is it because he plays baseball? Is it because he also comes from, another country? I'm not saying he doesn't get any attention.
Right.
But I would still submit to you that he doesn't receive in the popular cultural sports mindset the discussion and attention that he merits and deserves. And I'm trying to get a handle on why that is. My curiosity was piqued because I found a story laying out the fact that Ohtani has decided that what he's done already is not enough.
He needs more.
He needs more. Now, remember what he's already done. 4 MVP awards.
Jeez.
2 World Series titles. The only player in baseball history to produce 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in the same year. And he says, that's great. But he also wants to be a legitimate big-time candidate to win the Cy Young Award in 2026. Quote from his manager, Dave Roberts. It's fair to say he expects to be in the Cy Young conversation. They lay out, the Babe Ruth comparison's been made before. But remember, Babe was a pitcher first, and then once he crossed over to become a world-renowned slugger, he didn't pitch anymore. This guy still pitches. He continues to work magic in both fields. And how's he done as a pitcher, Gargi?
Pretty good, it sounds like.
Among all pitchers who have pitched 500 innings or more since 2018, only Jacob deGrom and Clayton Kershaw have a better ERA than this guy, 2.93. Now, they point out in this story, health has been the issue when it comes to the pitching part of this. He's already had a couple of significant elbow surgeries since he came to the United States to play MLB from Japan. That was about 8 years ago. Never thrown more than 166 innings in a season. But it sounds like he's saying, I don't know if he's going to be, if they're going to let him pitch more innings to try it. I'm not exactly sure how that goes and what risks are involved there, because you're talking about the best hitter in baseball and obviously maybe the best hitter of all time.
Right. A guy you want in your lineup every single day.
Exactly it.
Yep.
I've got him, by the way, in his first start last week, 6 shutout innings, 1 hit given up.
That's pretty good.
Against Toronto in his second start, 1 unearned run over 6 innings.
Well, pretty good.
He's now gone, and I have to double check if he pitched like the last day or two, because this story goes back. This story is about 2 or 3 days old. Because he started the season with 28 2/3 innings without allowing an earned run. That actually goes back to last season, and at least then it was the longest active streak in the MLB. And for the record, his 43 consecutive games reaching base at least once is also the longest active streak, or was the longest active streak in the league. I mean, why aren't we constantly obsessed with what this guy is doing? What do you think it is? Is it because it's just the nature of baseball, or because baseball has never been as effective, certainly as the NBA, at marketing its stars?
No, it's getting better.
I think it's getting better.
Yep.
And I'm not saying nobody's ever heard of him, but I still feel like there's so much hype on so many players and what this guy might turn into and what this gal might do, et cetera. It goes on and on and on. And then you see someone who has surpassed the hype with what he's actually done. It's mind-boggling. The numbers with this guy and the production with this guy, and he's still saying, how about a Cy Young Award? That's what I really want now. I want to add
nice feather.
A Cy Young Award to everything else I've done, which is only to be the best hitter perhaps in baseball history.
Well, I definitely think baseball's relative lack of popularity plays into it. There's probably some built-in animosity because it's the Dodgers, right? And they are the evil empire right now.
Yeah.
Even more so than the Yankees, because Aaron Judge gets plenty of shine.
They surpassed the Yankees for sure, yes. Well, in part because they've been successful more than the Yankees.
Right. Yeah. They've won more.
Yeah. And obviously their payroll makes some of the old Yankee payrolls look paltry.
I wonder, this might be preposterous statement tournament, but the fact that he's West Coast, and all his games are at 9:00 at night, just even in Central, right? Like you don't watch live as much, I would imagine. Obviously the time they're on national TV on the weekends, all of that, you probably catch them. That might have something to do with it. I think about Mike Trout. Mike Trout wasn't as good as Ohtani, right, historically, but he was probably the biggest star in the game for a minute or two, right? The Angels guy.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he came through here at Target Field.
No question.
For the All-Star game. And people kind of ask the same thing, like, this guy's doing some crazy stuff. Why isn't anybody paying attention? It might just be the baseball. It might just be the West Coast. Could be a number of things.
It's, there's somebody had texted, well, he's not all that charismatic. And I, as I mentioned, maybe that's some of it. I still think you got to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt on that because of language issues. But at some point, your performance becomes your charisma. I mean, when you're doing the kinds of things he's doing on a regular basis, ridiculous things that he's doing, to me, at some point you go, well, then it almost doesn't matter whether he's interesting or charismatic or, whatever the case may be. I don't know. I just think, what's also fascinating is that, you go to ESPN.com, you have you can find the stats for any player. Mm-hmm. But in Ohtani's case, there's a section where you have to pick. Are you talking about him as a hitter?
Right.
Or are you talking about him as a pitcher? And I think, I'm looking up the current numbers, I think he has only started those 2 games.
Yes, he is scheduled to pitch tomorrow night against the Mets.
So he has yet to give up he's yet to give up an earned run this season. He's given up 1 run in 12 innings. It's remarkable. It's stunning. And I don't know what the answer is. I mean, maybe we give him 5 minutes every game, every day on the show. I don't know. I know
the Ohtani update.
The Ohtani update. Nobody. You could say here. It feels so remote because he plays a long way from here that has nothing to do with here. And he, as you say, plays for the team that everybody wants to hate, the Los Angeles Dodgers of Anaheim, which might well be part of the issue as well. But if we're aroused by excellence, I don't know how you get any more excellent. I just got a kick out of the fact that he said, "What's left to do?" Well, Cy Young.
More to be done. He's giving himself like a half pelf almost.
Pretty much.
I need to be better.
It's almost like, he's sheepish about the fact that so far he has not yet won a Cy Young. I guess I hadn't even realized that he's already won 4 MVPs. Did you?
No, when you said it, it floored me.
That's insane. And how old is he? I think he's 32, I want to say. I think he's 32 years old, so I don't know how much more baseball he's got in him.
He turns 32 on July 5th.
Oh, so he's not even 32
He's
yet.
31 years
31
old.
now, okay. All right. 612 guy writes, you have to consider the sketchy gambling situation, Dan. Well, we talked about it when that story broke, but nobody in their right mind is going to tell me that some of the hesitation people have of getting into this story is about the gambling thing at this point.
I wouldn't think so.
I don't think. Do you?
No.
I think that's...
I don't think that ever even comes up anymore.
No, and I don't, I know the conspiracy theorists say, his interpreter?
Yes.
That they threw him under the bus because baseball couldn't afford a player this mythic being brought down by the whole thing. People I trust who covered this story say there's not as much there as the conspiracy theorists would like to say, or like to think, put it that way. If he played in the 80s or 90s, it'd be a totally different story. Now baseball has fallen off in the cultural zeitgeist, and I have no idea where to watch MLB. Well, the numbers would indicate baseball maybe is making some progress.
A little bit of a comeback.
But it's nowhere near what it was. And you almost have to even go back further. If you go back to the 50s and 60s, and you put somebody performing at the level he's performing at, he would easily be the number one sports pop cultural icon in America, right? It wouldn't even be. I don't even think it'd be close,
right?
If you go back that far, and maybe even you could say in the 80s or 90s. I'm not sure. By then it was starting to slip, but that sort of built in baseball as the national pastime. It just isn't treated the same way. Whether that's fair to the game or not, it's just not treated the same way. And so I guess that's some of it too. But at some point, the weight of that kind of accomplishment and performance, I mean, I would say that shouldn't matter. Get to one other couple texts here. We'll go to 42. Ohtani hasn't pitched against the Twins yet. What's the implication? That with our hitters,
not winning the Cy Young with the way we're coasting walks, battling in at bats.
Okay. It's been 5+ years of absolute dominance. There's fresher, newer, younger stories, and going to the Dodgers probably hurt him nationally. Ohtani should have been banned from the league for giving his interpreter millions to gamble on games. Should be banned from that. Wow, there's more anger about that than I thought.
Dodgers, by the way, in town to face the Twins.
When is that?
June 22nd, 23rd, 24th.
Can we get him in studio?
I doubt it.
That's unlikely. We didn't get Garnett.
I doubt it. Yeah.
This will be the... I'll save this text as the walk-off for this segment. It's very, very good. Let's get to a couple of others. I'd also say there just isn't much more to debate. He is the best ever. Brother David writes, think of how big and famous Jeets was in the early 2000s. Now think about how much better Ohtani is than him. LOL, pretty crazy. That's true.
Right. I even think about like Ichiro.
Yeah.
When he came over, it was a huge deal. He just got a statue in Seattle, I noticed.
Well, here's what's weird. I can remember when Fernando Valenzuela came out of Mexico, right? And was a almost an immediate smash success.
Yeah, in the 80s, right?
In the 80s, with the Dodgers, funny. Rich get richer.
They have everything.
We have nothing. In fact, I think I was working in Atlanta that year, and it became the media interest was so great, even with the language issues with Fernando, that there'd be before a series began, he'd have a presser, right? He'd have an interpreter there. and a presser, it became that big then. But I think, and maybe I'm not paying enough attention to coverage now, but I even felt like that. And that was, by the way, Valenzuela was a great pitcher. Nowhere near what, as a baseball player, that this guy has become. And I felt like the the phenomenon felt weightier for its time, but then again, that now you are going back to the early 80s.
40 years, basically.
Right? Yeah. Maybe that had something to do with it.
It was a different time.
Remember, the Twins didn't have room in the rotation for Ohtani. We could probably use him now.
Yeah, need a little depth.
Because because of the injuries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he makes $2 million per year, rest deferred. Unreal. Yeah, he's got that goofy contract.
That's the other thing that I still don't understand how that's
legal. You
think
that's illegal?
Yeah.
You think
not only we can have the biggest
if
payroll.
If we did it, it would be illegal.
Something would go wrong, right? That you can pay somebody that little, still have a ridiculous payroll, and 30 years from now, you're giving them whatever. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
What about the playoff game last year where we pitched shutout ball and hit 3 home runs? Yeah, some people consider that maybe the best individual performance in a single game ever. I mean, he checks literally every box.
And he hit clutch ones at times?
Yes, you can't. He's the one guy you can't say, okay, calm down a little bit. I mean, you can't exaggerate what he's done. When he's done what he's done. Dan, what athlete do we obsess over anymore? Well, that's an interesting question.
Wemby right now.
I would say Wemby. Yeah, that'd be the one. I mean, NBA media people, we used to mock and kid about it. I mean, they were drooling about him from, I think it was the first Summer League thing, wasn't it, in Vegas? He showed up in Vegas Summer League. His first game, he was miserable.
Yep.
But it was like, might as well shut down the league.
Yeah.
Because of what he's going to become. And by the way, that might end up being true based on his improvement. Yeah. But Wemby, I think, would be, I sense Wemby, there's more buzz about.
A lot of fanfare, yeah. We had our guy Sam Gordon on from Summer League. Yeah. He was still working in Vegas then. Before he moved to San Francisco to cover the Warriors.
That's true.
We fed into Wemby mania.
We did. We contributed to it. But as we mocked it.
In defense of us, it's July. It was the middle of July, and I'm guessing the Twins weren't giving us a lot of content.
Jeff wonders whether whether baseball gets consumed by the lengthy NBA playoff structure, kind of taking the thunder off the beginning of the season away, and then the NFL is in full swing by the time MLB gets to the actual World Series. The Thunder seems to be taking on both ends
probably
of the spectrum. I guess there might be something to that.
Well, think about it. March Madness, the Masters. We've got the draft next week. Like, there's a lot of things that baseball only really has 2-ish months where it's the only thing. So that might be part of it, too.
All the best monikers are taken, Guy writes. Dan, Dodgers fans in Southern California refer to the team as the Los Angeles Dodgers of Los Angeles in order to mock Angels fans.
I believe that.
Always thought that was worth a chuckle. I hope he pitches here. When did you say they're coming?
June 22nd, 23rd, 24th, I think. Yeah.
That would put people in the seats, would it not?
That'll be a nice walk-up.
That's got to be a decent walk-up.
That'll be a nice walk-up. I think the Dodgers last game here, it was like April, it was like this, except it was colder.
Is that right?
A couple of years ago. Yeah.
I got to believe there'd be a significant... I mean, that's the curiosity factor there. Are you kidding me? I mean, I guess I'm assuming people chart the numbers. Is he box office when he goes on the road? I mean, how much do we know analytically what he adds to a walk-up on a given in a given night?
He probably does, but also just the Dodgers being kind of a nationwide brand.
That'd be some of it, too.
Right, a lot of Dodger fans.
Yeah. There's some truth to that. Let's get a pause in here, and we'll get back on a schedule. Top 5 at 5, top of the hour. Louis on the wild goaltending situation, which did not get any more settled, I don't think, last night, even though I know we sat a lot of people. I don't think your guy looked real steady and sharp again last night, your guy being Gus. Here's your walk-off. This is Jeff from Richfield, basically listening to all of this Ohtani affection and love and respect. And he says, yes, but how many challenges has Ohtani won? Is the reason Ohtani has only pitched a few innings this year because the Dodgers have a new consultant in Rocco Baldelli. Man.
People
never going to live it down. They don't forget.
Man, the llama.
Lucky if he gets past 4 innings. That's Adam in White Bear.
We know it's not good baseball.
The NFL player who probably had the most hype in the past handful of years was Travis Hunter. The same reason as Shohei, playing both ways. Unfortunately for Travis, it seems the playing both ways dream is dead, and he did not quite live up to the hype. I think a big reason Ohtani doesn't get as much credit as he deserves is him being on the Dodgers with all the money they spend on all the superstars. It's easy to write off some of his accomplishments based on the team that he has built around him. The numbers, though, again, like I had his stats pulled up, but like postseason batting. So he's played in 33 games in the postseason. He's hit 11 home runs and driven in 24. Walked 29 times. He's got a now the batting average combined is not distinguished, it's 248. On base percentage though is 390, and his slugging 550, OPS 940. I mean, 11 home runs, 24 runs batted in 33 games. Now, again, he does have, it's clear he's got great people around him. There's no question about that. But, those are still pretty.
All the lineup protection in the world.
Yes.
He's still going to put up.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't have it, he's going to put up good numbers.
He's that good, for sure. And if you recall, Ohtani's height actually increased when they measured every player for the robot umps. Is that true? We did talk about that. Some players lost several inches to their height. Others, I think, did gain in a couple cases. Well, I didn't ask Sam Mitchell, the stories were infamous, right, forever, that Garnett did not want to be announced as a 7-footer, right? But wasn't he announced at like 6'11" forever?
Yeah.
And I think by all accounts, in his prime, wasn't he like 7'1"? He was definitely over 7 feet.
Yeah.
I don't remember that backstory, why that was that big of a deal to him. Do you?
I just think it was I just always heard from you guys that it was like a stigma thing. He didn't want to be known as a 7-footer.
Yeah.
Which is odd because now
it'd be considered a feather in your cap.
That's like the Wemby thing, to bring it back to him. Nobody can believe he can do the things he can do at his height. It's a completely different thing. To have a guy that tall be able to move like he can, shoot like he can, do everything like he can. That's part of the reason why he's a unicorn type guy.
Lavelle never told us with a straight face that we made a bid on Ohtani also, did he? He never even, in this case, he never even tried that, right?
No, but we were
in the mix.
I don't think he voted for him for MVP. I think he was the one that didn't vote for him. Pretty sure.
That would not be. That's another joke that will never.
No, and mostly because it's Lavelle who criticized us for being too big on the bits. All of his just have to be driven into the ground even more.
This is from This is Fort from Golden Valley. When you mentioned Lou Ragoose, it prompted me to mention that after you had him on a few weeks ago, I bought both of his books and found them both outstanding.
Great.
That's all we do is sell books.
That's nice.
That's good. It's good to hear. And then I think he did initials, didn't he? And actually got a few right.
He said he got 3.
Which is great for your
That's Ohtani-like numbers.
Right? Yeah, that's tremendous for sure. How good would Joe Mauer have been as a pitcher? Oh, pretty good. Well, we don't know that, but we know he would have been very good as a quarterback.
Well, pretty good.
He was a good quarterback.
I'm saying
you're right.
As a college quarterback, never really had the chance, even though he was going to go to Florida State, right? Did he ever get any abuse for that? Why he didn't want to come here? Local kid of Minnesota.
No, because Minnesota, we're more than happy to just let everybody leave. We don't care. We're the only state that puts no pressure on their own to stay home.
We don't?
None.
We
criticize the coaches for not getting them, but with the kids, it's go be great.
I don't remember. I don't think that's true.
It's true.
What are you talking about?
There's all kind. There's no pressure to stay home on a Minnesota kid. So
have you ever heard the name Sid Hartman?
Yeah,
that's the bit. With Sid Hartman, it was you're not ever going to get a job in this town if you leave home.
But there are plenty of counterweights to that.
Well, there's counterweights, but in fairness to Joe Mauer, Minnesota at that, who would have been the coach then?
Mace.
Was it Mace?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
2001. Yeah, it was early in Mace's tenure.
Yeah.
We should ask Mace next time if he ever recruited him. He'll probably just go.
I don't remember. I recall. I mean, where is provincial? Where is this coming from? Where is provincial as we get when it comes to having people?
You're right, but it doesn't seem to bother us though.
Marshall checking in from Minnetonka. Yes, Ohtani would be more popular if he was a football or basketball player. Those are more star-driven leagues. Baseball has done a poor job marketing its top players. Home games are on late. He doesn't speak a lot of English. All those are factors. I agree, though he should be talked about much more. What he's doing is incredible and unprecedented. Yeah, and I don't see much drop-off so far this year, although are you a big WAR guy? Do you believe you love the WAR stat?
Wins above replacement? I think it's pretty instructive.
Through 16 games this year, you want to take a guess at Ohtani's WAR?
WAR? So WAR kind of gets accumulated as the season goes along. How many games?
Oh, is that true?
I think so.
Oh, you're probably right.
Yeah.
That maybe that partly explains it.
So is it like 4 or 5?
0.5.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it accumulates as it goes.
Last year was a 6 point. He's had 3 straight years of 6 or above. 2023, 6.0. 24, 9.2. 6.6 last year. And then, I guess maybe it is a cumulative kind of a thing. That's for sure. I think also they're saying Ohtani doesn't get in front of the media much. Yeah, that's true. But I just, does that always have to drive it? I mean, because I always thought if you are playing at an unprecedented level, that provides the charisma, that provides the juice. You don't even really need a word out of him, right? At some point, if he's continuing to perform at that level, and now is trying to even push harder on the pitcher thing. But that's going to be an interesting story to follow because, as you say, if you're the Dodgers, you cannot afford to break him, right?
Right.
Too much at stake.
Because of what he can do every single game for your team. It's great to think about that, though, to have one of the top 3 or 4 pitchers in the game and to load manage him because he's such a good everyday player. Like, what a luxury that is and to still have, I'm guessing, a pretty solid rotation that Dave Roberts can go to. Is Ohtani available this week? No? Okay. We'll go to somebody else. But we can still bat, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. That's an interesting luxury. To have a guy you just plug him in, he can go amazing. 6 strong, and if he does it every 10 days, that's still good because he's hitting dong after dong after dong.
And he still hasn't given up his first earned run after only 2 starts, but nevertheless, 2 outstanding starts as well. Garnett did not want to be placed as the center position. That's why I always like to be referred to as 6'11". Yeah, I get that part of it, but he wasn't. No one looked at him as if he were a center. That's what's strange. He
right. But that's KG though. He's always got weird things.
He's always been quirky about stuff like that.
Quirky's a good word for it.
But again, it actually, it would have had the opposite impact in terms of the way people perceived him, I think, than he took it. And again, that was a long time ago. It was a different era of NBA basketball. Johnny Poe and Chrissy Wendell's kids going to Wisconsin. That's from 612 guy. Is that true?
Yeah.
Well, do you want to pound away at him? Do you want to rip him for that?
No.
Sounds like you do.
Nobody else will. I don't want to join the chorus.
One other one regarding recruiting. Where is it? AI says the Gophers recruited Maurer for football and baseball, which I guess makes sense.
Recruited for baseball?
Was it ever close?
I doubt it, but I honestly, I don't remember. Because it was pretty well established he was going to be the number 1 or number 2 pick. So
how do you argue with that? How do you compete with that?
The football thing was kind of ceremonial almost, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah, it's one of those we'll never really know because obviously there's every reason to believe he was a hell of a quarterback. Jalen Suggs.
Well, you know about the basketball, too. Majerus all said, I played against him growing up.
Yeah.
He was a bucket. His Cretan basketball team was outstanding. Really good. Sweeney, the assistant coach that everybody likes, Sean, he was on that team.
Who was the big country star who performed
Morgan
at
Wallen.
the People's State? He came out, did night the walkout with Wallen on the second night.
Yeah, night 2, said it was neat. Actually, I have no idea.
That's what I think about all he did say.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
he did do it in his understated way. Wallen was kind of doing his bit, and Joe's just walking like he walks. He's Joe.
Yeah, I think he said it was frustrating, too. How about this salvo? Jalen Suggs said he would have stayed home if Richard Pitino had actually recruited him.
Yeah, I know.
That's a sore subject. That's way back.
That's a convenient.
Yeah, well.
That was a convenient podcast.
It's possible. Who's to say? You got to recruit him, don't you? How's he turned out? Pretty good?
He's a good player. I think they're in the play-in here in the next
Well, yeah.
He's good.
He's good. The team is underachieved. They're kind of messy, and there's a lot of people who feel like
But that proves my point.
Yeah.
Do people honestly believe Richard Pitino didn't recruit Jalen Suggs?
Well, it's not unprecedented that coaches miss sometimes.
On Jalen Suggs, who was like a top 10 national player?
Well, did he do the work that needed to be done?
I don't know.
Day-to-day, hand-holding, sadly, it's part of that whole process. Or was he, following his dad around the country somewhere? Just asking.
But everybody just believes that.
Right, yeah. No,
because they want to just dunk on the coach, which that's what I'm talking about.
Let's take a break. Top of the hour. Top 5 will include
hottest team in baseball. And I had one other thing, and now I just lost my train of thought. It was going to be good. What was it?
Hockey?
Oh, it was. Yes. The Gus bus, the check engine light is still illuminated.